Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good to see everybody here. Slowly but surely. Let's see, there's me, there's Betty, Janet, Peggy's. Okay. Okay. Give you a second or two to get here. So anything been going on in life with anybody? Everybody doing okay?
Doing okay.
All right. Yeah, it's been kind of quiet around here. So
That's not bad these days.
no, that's fine. No, it can remain quiet for
Yes.
the next, however many weeks we need to, do what we're doing here. So, all right. Well, it is 11 o'clock, and we will get started here. Betty, you haven't sent me anything new, right?
No, I didn't send any drawings this week.
Okay. All right.
Still working on one.
Okay. All right. How about you, Johnette? I didn't get, or Jonetta, I didn't get anything from you that I'm aware of. See if we can unmute her. Okay, can't do it there. How about up there? Okay, keep trying to, but okay, let's do this. I don't like doing this, but okay. Okay, Jonetta?
She's still showing as mute.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've unmuted everybody. And okay. It says that everybody's unmuted, but she's still showing muted. Okay. Anyway, good morning, Lawrence. How you doing?
I'm awake.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Oh, you're dressed up today.
I'm staying warm. It's a little bit cool this morning, at least up here. And then Peggy, is it?
Yes,
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. This is my first day.
I know. I haven't met you yet.
I'm from Darnell.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Peggy.
Hi, who am I speaking to?
Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Okay, Sharon, Peggy. Sharon, where are you from? Are you from Darnell?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get started. Okay. So I'm going to start off.
My first day.
Okay. I was going to start off. Eloise, who I think also was from Darnell, had sent me. She's been working on apples and trying to turn form with these apples, and I sent her in June back an email yesterday, and I'm going to share this screen and I'm going to show you what it is that I sent them. Okay, so this, can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
1, 2, 3 apples.
Yeah, this is basically what we've more or less been talking about from the very first week, which is a value scale, starting off with, and I've got it labeled D for dark, L for light, M for midtone, and then MD for, middle dark and middle light. And having a value scale of 5 and anything 5 and above will give you the ability to do what we call turn form, make something look three-dimensional and round. You can't do it with 3. You can't do it with 4. You have to have 5. And as I was explaining to Eloise and also to June and several other people who have attended the class before, if you look at the drawing that's labeled number 1, right? It's basically just a simple outline of a shape. And then I've put in some indication of the stem and the shadow, where the stem connects. And then I've blocked in about 1/2 of that shape. And I've, in looking at the reference that she had sent me of the apple that she was drawing, I basically drew in a line that sort of followed the shape of where the light and the shadow divided, right? And then I went ahead and I blocked in everything on the dark side in a tone so that, I could clearly see that there was a difference between the light side being over here and the shadow side, plus the cast shadow. And then I took that and see right now we've got 2 values. And if you had to more or less break that down into how that relates to this scale up here, what I did is, the shadow side is all kind of right about in that mid-tone, right? And so, just as a quick indication, I didn't want to get too dark with it. I just wanted to get a tone down there and say, that shadow, leaving the white of the paper, the color of the paper, as light. So after that, my next step was to go in and begin to break it down even further. Okay? And so I broke it down into, see, I made this much darker along here, right along this area where you see the cursor. And that's what we call a core shadow. Okay? Core shadow. And, I left that mid-tone, and that mid-tone really became, the general shadow area of this drawing. And then I've also darkened right along the edge of the apple. Everything out from that got dark. All the cast shadow. Okay. And then I added, so really this foreshadow right here, right at this point, is probably about a middle dark when I laid it in. And then the middle light, see, I began to fill in over here on this side and try to make some tone on that middle light side. But again, didn't want to get it real dark. I just wanted to indicate that it wasn't a highlight. And the highlight, I left white. So you see, I've broken that down into that 5 value step right there. And it's a little bit graphic at that point, but I have a good understanding of where those values are sitting. And then from there, I took it and I began to soften it and rub it back and then build in darker values if I needed to and pull out lights with an eraser. And in this case, I was using an electric eraser. Which I like that tool. It's handy, it's very effective, and you can put in small little, points and detail better than you can with, say a kneaded eraser. You can do it with a kneaded eraser, but it's not as easy. Hi, Eloise, how you doing?
Hi.
Yeah, we're talking about what we've been, emailing back and forth about. So that gives you a good idea of how to build up, the drawing. And it's not a one-step process. You know, you got to begin to figure out certain things, like, you know, where you're going to put it on the page, you know, how big it's going to be. And then the first step is really dividing that light and shadow side, and then beginning to build in at least those 5 steps in value. Okay. Once you have those 5 steps in value, just even roughed in, then you can begin to soften the drawing back, and then, you know, go from there. Okay.
I have
Now,
a question.
yes.
In using drawing pencil, do you use different pencils for that, or you just keep stroking until you get the right shade you want?
Well, it depends on what you're working with. Now, you see, graphite,
Or this?
you know, graphite comes in different hardnesses. You know, you've got HB all the way down to like a 9B, 9B being the very, very softest. And that's going to give you the blackest or darkest you can get with graphite, okay? Which is really pretty dark. It's a very soft pencil. So if you're using graphite pencils, they come in different hardnesses, and the softer the pencil, you know, the darker you can get it. So you may not want to start off with a 9B. You may want to start off with like about a 2B or 3B, and build your way, you know, to the 9B.
What did you use for this one? I came in a little late and I missed part of
Yeah, this is charcoal.
charcoal.
Now, charcoal basically comes, well, it also comes in different hardnesses. But I basically used 1 stick of charcoal on this and made all those values with that 1 piece of charcoal. And it's just building it up. The charcoal by itself is really pretty dark. And so it's a matter of how much pressure and how many times you work over that area, building up the amount of charcoal in that area before you start softening it back, okay?
I had a hard time trying to use oil paint to do the black and white. So what do I start? What do I start the darker color first?
Yeah, you could. Again, probably the first thing I do is if you're using oil paint, you may not want to start off with black. Okay, you may want to mix a gray that's sort of about a mid-tone. All right, and so if you look at number 1, you know, you would take that mid-tone and you would block in the shadow side, and then you would leave whatever the canvas is, even if you have a tone on it, you know, basically as it is, all right, for right then. But that divides your light and your shadow, okay? Then you would go to the next step, number 2, and then you would make a series of values. You know, like you can see on the value scale above, you would make a strong dark, which the darkest dark you can make in oil paint would be black. And then you would mix white with it to make those 5 steps in value, okay? You know, you'd make a middle tone, which you used already. And then you'd make something slightly darker, which is a middle dark. You would make something slightly lighter, which is a middle light. And then white, of course, would be your light. It would be your lightest light. And once you have those placed, you know, where you basically think they are, then you can take a brush, a clean brush, and start blending those edges together, making those transitions from one to the other, making them as soft and or as hard as you see them, okay?
Thank you. That helps out a lot. I'm going to try that.
Okay, but
May I ask a
Charles.
question?
sure.
This is Janetta. I have a question, sir.
What kind of pencil do you use? What pencil are you using in your drawing?
Well, now I was using a piece of charcoal.
Charcoal.
Right. Now, I was saying a lot of people have graphite pencils at home,
Mm,
and, you know, graphite
Graphite.
comes in different hardnesses, you know, like an HB is kind of a standard, you know, graphite pencil, like a regular school pencil, right?
Okay.
You remember back in school, they'd say, get out your HB pencil, right?
I just remember number 2. That's all I hear all the time. is
Right,
people.
right. Now, 2 would be, well, it could be a 2H or it could be a 2B. Okay, because from HB it goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, H, and as you go up in numbers, that graphite gets harder, right? So you're going to have a more difficult time building up a dark value with it. Draftsmen and engineers use those H pencils, to begin to do layout work. And then as they get into the final drawing, they go the other direction with the B pencils, which is,
Okay.
again, a 1, 2, 3, and 9 is the darkest of the B colors in graphite. And that's the softest and darkest. Okay? So if you're using graphite, you can do it that way. Or if you have like a drawing, like a graphite pencil made for drawing, say that you bought from one of the art stores, like a corner drawing pencil or whatever, most of those are pretty soft. They kind of, like an ebony pencil is probably about a 6B on that scale, right?
Okay.
And you can get really dark with that. And, if you just keep building up the graphite, you can really get very, very close to what's truly black. Okay.
Is fine charcoal kind of a medium grade or medium value? Or
Yeah, Vine, you can get dark with it. The problem with Vine is it's generally used as a layout tool because
Okay.
it's not really permanent. I've done, usually when you're doing like even a charcoal drawing, you might start off with Vine charcoal and you might do your initial layout because it's so soft and it doesn't take anything to rub it off the paper. Like nothing at all. So you might lay it out, just get your shapes and, do your big block, in Vine charcoal, and then move into something like a compressed charcoal and then begin to go back in and restate over that. Okay. So classically, most artists doing a drawing would start off with the Vine charcoal and then work their way to what they call compressed charcoal, which is that really dark, dense blocks. Or you can get it in sticks or you can get it in a pencil as well, for finer work. I generally use blocks or these round sticks. I don't really like it in a pencil because a lot of times I want to shape it, a razor blade or something, and really carve myself down a really long point on a stick of charcoal. So I have a nice, pointed tool with a long edge that I can use when I'm doing things like figure drawing. Yeah. And I've got some examples of that I'll show you.
Charles, this is Jeanette. I have a question, sir.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The lightest color on your chart here, is that the natural color of the paper?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's okay to leave it with just the natural color of the paper? It's not considered unfinished?
Yeah, if that's the lightest, you can get, let's say that you're working on a gray piece of paper and you don't have white chalk, right? All you have is graphite. Then you have no other option but to leave that gray as your lightest light. Now, if you happen to have a piece of like white pastel or chalk, then you can go back in and you can really push those highlights. And I think, well, in that drawing demonstration that I did in the video, I was using the charcoal and white chalk to give myself that light, because I was actually drawing on like a fairly light gray piece of paper.
So is this paper, it looks peachy in color. Is that the color of it?
It's more because of the lamp, but it's what you would consider a white piece of, this is actually a mixed media piece of mixed media paper. And so it's white. It's not a gray tone or a beige or anything. It's white. But
Okay.
because because I had an incandescent lamp in the studio, it looks warmer. It has kind of a orangey or yellowish tone to it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about that? All right. Well, I'm moving on here. Let's see. I put together something that I want to send everybody, and I'm going to show you what they are, and they may be helpful. This is a value scale, okay? If you notice all the way down here at the bottom, you got your value scale in black and white. But then what I've done is, pardon?
We're not seeing it. We're just still seeing the apples.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay. Well, let's see. What can I do about that? Let's go back to here. Let's do a stop share. And then let's reshare. And go back to, yeah. There we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Ah, okay, good. All right. So what I did is I put this together digitally. And what it is a value. And it's got each of the primary and secondary colors on there, plus black. And then I added in this sort of more blue-green rather than the yellow-green, depending on the green that you have in your palette. That way you can begin to get some sense as to what that color would look like at, say, a number 9 value, okay, or a number 6 value, or a number 5 value, okay? And in many cases, you might be surprised that, you know, these colors look much lighter and brighter than you might expect at a number 5 value. So I know when I'm mixing color and stuff, I tend to be, you know, I see things a little bit better on the dark range of values than I do in the light, okay? And that's just, you know, me personally overworking, you know, with painting and things for many, many years. I just naturally see, you know, a little better in that range right in there than I do out here. So I've got to slow down and really look, and particularly when I'm working on the light side of an object, and really begin to try to be very careful about how I differentiate those values in the light range. Okay? And you'll find as you paint and draw things that you may be, you know, have an easier time maybe in the midtones, or you may see a wider range in the light range or the dark range. Everybody's eyes are a little bit different. So, and that will just take you some time of doing this to begin to understand, you know, where you see those value ranges better and not, you know, and where you're weaker on that side too. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try to send everybody an email. And Sharon?
Yes.
I need, well, for you, and then there was someone else. There were a couple of new people here today. I need to, you know,
Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get your emails. And what I'm going to do is I will go find, I need to go find a file and get a, I'm going to put that card up. And that way you guys will have my email address and you can send me things, okay? So let me see if I, yeah, let me see if I can find that and open it. All right, and share. Where are you? Ah, there you are. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so at the bottom is my email address.
Okay.
Now you can either write that down or you can do a screen capture of it or whatever you know want to do. But if you need to send me something, or if you have questions before the class or something like that, be happy to send me an email to that. Right?
Okay.
And those are actually the correct times and dates of the classes. Okay. When I put that up at first, we were off on that a little bit, but I've corrected it since then. So all the information on there is actually correct now. So, have you guys got that?
Just a second.
Oh, okay. We'll give you time
Oh,
because we want to make sure that everybody can sort of communicate here. That's what this is all about.
okay, I have it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. I'll stop sharing that. And I'm going to begin to share some of the things. Oh, I have one more thing to share. Another thing I want to send you is I want to send you a tool. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what this is, and I'm going to scroll a little bit. This is an 8.5 by 11 page, and you can print it if you have a printer at home, and it will give you a value scale. And we've got warm grays here. We've got cool grays here going down the side. I have a color wheel showing the primary, which is based, pardon me, yellow, red, and blue. And then the secondaries, which are green, orange, and violet. And then all the tertiary colors, right? Which are like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and red, violet. Okay. So that might come in useful. And then right here at the very bottom of the page, this is what I call a color viewer. Okay. Some people refer to it as a color isolator. And the way this works is this is a number 5 neutral gray. And I've got a little white dot in there. And what you do is you take a pair of scissors, you trim out this from the rest of the paper. And if you want to trim those value scales off, you can do that as well. And that way you can use them to lay down next to something that you're looking at, say a photograph or whatever, to begin to see what value is that color, right? But after you trim that out, you take this little white hole and you cut that out as well. And when you want to really figure out what the color of something is or what the value of something is, you hold that card up, you look through that hole. So you're just looking at the area that you're, wondering about. And because this is surrounded by a neutral gray, you're going to be able to determine whether or not it's a light, a mid-tone, or a dark, and also the intensity. And in many cases, if you're out in the field plein air painting, let's say you're in the garden, something like that, and you hold that up, you might think that that leaf is kind of a, say a slightly yellowish green, but you hold that color isolator up over it and you might actually discover that it's much more blue than you think it is. Same thing with shadows. Shadows you might think that are kind of cool and bluish. If you hold that isolator up, you might begin to see them as orange or red. And so this will give you a little more accurate way of seeing color. It teaches you a lot about, looking at color and seeing really what the influences are, okay? Now, I know that doesn't have a lot to do with drawing, but it's equally helpful in value, okay? Oh my goodness, wow. I'm getting my signal here. It says, we're almost running out of time. Oh my my God.
Not yet.
Yeah, I know, not quite. We've got 9 minutes and 44 seconds. So I'm going to close this, and I'm gonna start talking about some of the things that folks sent in. Okay. And that would be this one right there. Okay. And I've got too much stuff in the way. All right, so let's start here. And I'm going to start with this guy. This is Larry. And Larry sent me in two pieces. He sent me in this drawing. And Larry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about this. Was this drawn on the back of another piece of paper that had printing on the other side, or what?
Well, you know how you sit around and you start doodling?
Okay.
And I just sort of doodled that in about 5 or 10 minutes. And
Okay. So is this your son?
no, I'm going to call him Toby.
Toby. Okay.
Toby needs a haircut like I do.
Okay. I think Toby probably needs more of a haircut than you do.
Well, he's just sort of a cartoon character that I'm going to develop
Okay.
using sort of the same face and turning different ways.
Okay. So June, can you mute yourself while you're talking to somebody else? Okay. I'll do it for her.
I still do just to play around with you, Charles.
I see. Okay. Well, what I would say about Toby is, okay, you know, you got a good kind of beginning. It's still a little bit flat, and you might use, well, I would do several drawings, and I wouldn't get into so much detail as I would, if you're going to do like an animated character, start trying to actually, you know, figure out basic, simple shapes for the face and things that you can repeat, you know, over and over and over again, okay, in your drawings. And also figure out his proportions. So again, you can repeat them, all right? The other thing you sent was you sent this, and you know, I kind of go back and forth between this is a painting because it's a watercolor, but there's also an element of it being a drawing. And I guess my question is, did you do the drawing first? And this is a pen.
Who is this?
Yeah, it was drawing was done first, and then I filled it in with the color.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And sort of represents everything's dead.
Mhm.
Dead tree, dead bodies, dead.
Well, no bodies, but graves. Okay. Yeah. Unless you've got some bodies hidden in there somewhere. So.
It's very cold.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, it's yes, it's kind of stark and, you know, a little bit on the dark side with the gravestones there. Which is what you seem to intend. So, so where are you going to go with this?
I gave that away.
Oh, you gave it away?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Wasn't very happy with it, but the more I look at it, the more I do like it.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would have encouraged you to, if I had seen this earlier before you gave it away, try to get more color, and like some of the grays or the purples and things that you used up here in the sky, I would have tried some of those also, you know, kind of floating some of those down in the shadows to again create some warmer and cooler areas. You did pretty nicely in the sky, but all of this seems to be kind of monochromatic, you know, once you get to the surface of the ground. And so again, you know, pushing those warms, cools, you know, could make that, I think, a more effective piece, right? And then I want to go to that. Okay. And so again, this is your piece. And I like this. I mean, this worked out fairly well. You got a little repetitive with your shapes and things up in here. And you could break that up and make some of them a little more solid and some of them maybe a little different in scale and size. And that would kind of improve it up there a little bit. But, you know, overall, you know, I think you did a really nice job on that.
It's best viewed about 10 feet away. So if you can back that up a little more,
Well, yeah, we won't, you know.
make it
It's fine.
smaller.
Yeah, but it's, you know, for learning purposes and things, looking at this, you know, it's a nice composition. You know, it's fairly well thought out. And again, you know, this area, if you vary those shapes and sizes a little more, again, make it look a little more credible and realistic. Back in here, in the trees in the background, you could simplify those a bit, okay?
Hello?
Whoever's got the phone ringing, can we mute that or mute yourself? Okay. All right, June, I want to move on to you. You sent me some drawings. So you had your gardening tools and a leaf there, and I thought you did a nice job, you know, drawing that. I sent you back an email, and my response to you was some of the shadows in here, you could try to push and make much, much darker, okay? So we're down to about 2 minutes, and so I'm gonna stop sharing. We will be back here at 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock today, okay? And so I hope to see most of you back here again, and we'll go through some more drawings. If between now and 1 o'clock, if you want to send me something, go ahead and send it to that Fulton County email address, and we'll share those this afternoon and talk about them more, okay? Anybody got anything to say about that?
Sounds good.
Okay, Sharon Hampton, great. Okay. All right. So, so hopefully we'll see you all back here. Okay.
All righty.
Try to stay dry. It's raining up here in Smyrna, Georgia. So,
Put the email address back up there again, right quick.
oh, okay.
Take that.
Let's see if we can do this before the end of the class. Where did it go? It should be up there. I don't see it.
Just tell it to her.
Okay, well, it's Charles.Scoggins.
Okay, I got Charles.
Scoggins, S-C-O-G-I-N-S. Yeah, at Fulton County,
Fulton County.
G-A.
.gov.
Right.
Okay, all right, I got it.
Okay, good.
I just wanted to make sure I had it correctly.
Okay. All right. Well,
Thank
you
you
know,
very much.
Have a nice lunch.
well, yeah, we will. And hopefully we'll see you all back here soon. Okay?
That's Charles.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Stay dry.
You too.
All right. Let's see. All right. Yeah, in June, when you come back, we'll talk about your piece this after your second piece. Okay? All right.